Zealand. Welcome to Porchlight Letters podcast, number 2295, Settling into the Routine and the Wind. Yes, we had a very windy day today. It was awesome. Um, I love the wind, I love the rain. That's why my hair looks such a hodgepodge mess at the moment, but that's okay. Let's see. So today, settling into routine. Yeah, I have found that since I've come to New Zealand, I'm going to bed a lot earlier than I used to back in the States, because in the States I was going to bed like around 11:30, midnight, um, by the time I got into bed, and that was since Zeffy passed. And then I was getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, so I wasn't really getting a lot of sleep, and the sleep I was getting wasn't that good quality. But I've noticed that since I've moved down here to New Zealand, like last night I headed off to bed at 8:30. Unheard of for me. But then I got to lay in bed and read for about half an hour. Before the Kindle started toppling over, falling out of my grip and toppling over, then I knew it was time to turn the lights out. But most nights I am in bed by between 9 and 9:30. I barely get to read a page or two from my Kindle before I'm sort of like, okay, we have to put this down. I'm about to go to sleep. Or like I did on the first night, I woke up in the middle of the night with the Kindle laying on my chest. Yeah. But I have been waking up around 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. My alarm goes off at 5:07. Most mornings I'm awake before the alarm goes off. And although one morning I was awake at like 3 and I couldn't get back to sleep. So I just laid in bed and read for a bit and then finally got up. But this morning I was up early because I had my accountability call at 6 a.m. and I was up and ready for that, and bright and bubbly and super fantastic and sparkling and all that good stuff. And then it was, just to get ready for the day and get on to work at 9 a.m. in the morning. I have to tell you, starting work in the morning to do my 4 hours on the help chat is awesome. Knowing that it's afternoon back there, but it's morning here, I'm like, this feels so much better. But before I got on the thing this morning, I was outside. It was windy. Sassy Red was going. I think I have a video of it on TikTok. I did a video on it on TikTok. And Sassy Red was spinning away with the wind and everything else. But I stood at the end of the patio and just faced into the wind with my arms out. Oops, there's a fan there. Arms out, head up to the wind, and just allowed it to blow over me and take these deep breaths. And it was so cleansing. And then throughout the day, the wind gusts would pop up, they'd go down. And at one point I'm sitting here and I'm working and I hear this noise, and it sounded like something had fallen by the front door of the house. And so I called out to my parents, go, what was that just fell down? And then I looked out the window and all this trash is flying down the street. Like, it wasn't even just tumbling, it was flying down the street. And this big gust of wind that they clocked at 87 kilometers per hour. Sorry, I haven't converted that. It had toppled over a couple of trash cans that hadn't yet been picked up, and the trash was just racing off down the street. It looked like it was all recyclable stuff. But yeah, it was just it was flying down the street. So that was my little entertainment for this morning. Watching the trash flying down the street. Then after that, after I finished work, and I have to say, one of the comforts of living at home is that Mum takes care of all the meals. I don't have to think about them, which is amazing. Even though I can't wait to get into my own place and prepare my own meals, but the fact that while I'm in this transition stage, I have a support group here in the house, and Mum just makes these most amazing meals. They bring me in lunch at just after 12 o'clock of a sandwich with some sliced apple, and it's awesome. They asked me what I want on my sandwich though, but it's awesome. And it means that I can concentrate on work and I don't have to worry about meals right now until I get my own place. So that's going to be a different story. But for now, I am enjoying this and enjoying being with my parents, and just spending the time with them is amazing. To be able to just sit down and share a meal with them. We have breakfast together, we have dinner together, lunch. I'm sitting here at my desk now working, and on the days I'm not working, I'm sitting at the table having lunch with them. So to be able to sit down and have a meal with somebody is something that I have missed living by myself, and it has just been such a blessing. And I'm so grateful that I have the opportunity to be able to sit down and have my meals with my parents. It's just fantastic. I love it. And I help out where I can. We hand wash dishes. We don't put them in the dishwasher. We hand wash them. So I'll get in there and help dry the dishes. And um, whether it comes to meal, when it comes to the evening meal, I pitch in and help where I can. Um, but mum and dad are so well coordinated in the kitchen. I was watching them last night as they're moving to do different portions of the meal and they're moving around each other. Like they've been doing it for years, which they have been. And just to see them in sync like that was amazing. One thing I did get to do today is I went and ordered my new phone, and they say it won't be delivered until the 21st to the 25th of this month. And I was like, really? It's going to take you that long? And they said it ships within 3 to 5 days, but then it's going to take that long to get here. And I'm like, yeah, that's cutting it fine. But okay, well, that's at least a week away because today's what, today's the 13th here. So yeah, it's not due till next Friday next week or Tuesday of the week after that. So I'm sort of like, they must be importing them from America because I am going for the when I was looking and comparing them, I'm going for the 17 Pro Max because it has all this new functionality and stuff that when I'm doing my trips around New Zealand, the extra features are going to come in handy with how I'm going to be able to use them and things like that. So I want to start learning how to use them now. So when I go out on the road, I can get better photos, better videos, and that sort of thing as well. And there's something that you can do with, like it has an action thing with the camera. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but I'm going to learn. So I'm super excited about that, which means I can't activate my New Zealand phone number until I get the phone because I've got to put the SIM chip into the phone and then activate it. So that's going to have to wait until the phone arrives. So I am hoping that it comes the 21st and not the 25th because then I get the weekend to play. Let's see what else. Oh, and then after work, I quickly got changed and we went down. And one of the things on my list was to get new walking shoes because my other ones, I got my last ones in 2018. They didn't leave the States with me. They had no tread along the bottom of them. Even though the inside was perfectly fine, the tread was gone. And I had two pairs of shoes that I was using for walking. One was a sneaker and the other one was my just slip-on shoes. And those are the ones I usually took Zephy for a walk in. But again, I'd worn all the tread off those. But I did have it. I bought two pairs when I bought the slip-ons. And so the first time I wore the new pair of slip-ons was the day I flew to New Zealand. So walking around LAX for the miles that we had to walk in brand new shoes wasn't the most comfortable thing, but it wasn't too bad. I didn't end up with any blisters or anything. And once on the plane and settled in, I kicked my shoes off for the flight and then put them back on when we landed. And I did not kick them off on the flight down from Fiji to Wellington. I didn't kick them off that time. But I will tell you, when I got to the house here, when we actually were in the car, I says, I'm taking my shoes off. And then I walked in my socks from the car through the front door into the house because there was no way I was putting shoes back on. I was done. So yeah, but it took us ages to get the right shoes because the problem I have is that I have wide feet in the main foot area, but my heels are narrow. And so he was bringing out shoes that would fit my wide feet, but they weren't fitting the narrow heel. And I had on my thick walking shoes, my thick walking socks too. So it wasn't like the socks were too thin. And so I think I tried on 5 or 6 shoes before he finally comes out with this one pair and puts them on. I'm like thinking, well, these aren't too bad. Like the first pair was a New Balance, which I've normally always worn, and because I have no arches. And when I first stepped on them, I almost felt like I was swaying on a boat. I was on a ship swaying with the water was just going, and the ship was just swaying there and docked. That's what it felt like when I stood up. So it took me a bit to get my balance on these things. And then once I got a balance, it was really cushy. But again, my foot was slipping in the heel area. So those were, and even when he tightened up the heel and we did the laces to pull the heels in tighter, it didn't work. And then we went through, so then he brought out a different brand and we tried those. And again, same issue with the heels, but these ones had like this hard thing that would like dig into the side of my heel and was very uncomfortable. So we got rid of those. And then when he finally came out with this last pair, I don't even remember the make of them. Begins with an M. He put them on and I thought, okay, these are a little firmer across the foot, but not uncomfortable firm. They are good support firm. And around the heels, I thought, well, this kind of feels good. But they're these shoes that have got holes that go through the bottom of the sole. So, but I got up, walked around in them, came back and said, these feel really good. I said, my foot is not slipping in the heel area. And the look of relief on this guy's face, because he comes out and says, this is the last pair I can find. That's, yeah. So we were down to the last pair, and those were the ones that we fitted and ended up taking with us. And they had some sale going on this brand, so I got whatever it was I got off that, and then I got a free gift, which was a little bag that you can extend the strap to go crossbody. And then as we were leaving, he says, oh, got one more thing for you. And he goes to the fridge and gets out 3 small cans of water for us. And New Zealand is trying to move away from plastics a lot. Like, you will not find plastic shopping bags in any supermarket. Even in the fruit and veg section, when you go into the fruit and veg section, the produce section, there is not a plastic bag to be seen. They have paper bags for you to put your produce in. I was like, this is so cool. And so in the stores, when he came to give us free water, it was in these cans that had the name of the store, had the store's stuff printed on it, and it was just water, just cans of water. And I thought, this is really cool. So it was greatly appreciated. And then got a really fancy bag to go with it all, and that the shoes went in that had the store name on it. And Mum and Dad made me sign up for my own account with them, because for every $500 you spend, you get $50 off your next pair of shoes. And so Mum and Dad says, no use us putting it on our account when you're now going to be living here and getting more than one pair of shoes. I was like, okay, I'm down with that. So yes, it was really good, really great experience. This guy, I mean, I know I was frustrating him and saying it's slipping, and even though he did the laces a different way to tighten up the heel, it just wasn't working. All the heels were digging in on the sides. We finally got the right pair of shoes, which made me happy, made him happy. He was, because I think he was on like, this is like the last pair I can show you. I've got nothing more. But yeah, so we tried that, and they fitted, and they were perfect fit, felt great. So we got them. And then we just headed on home here, and here we are doing our live. Late, I know, I'm sorry. But it was just one of those things. We've got it, when you're trying on shoes, you've got to find the right pair. It's no use walking out with a ho-hum pair. You know them as soon as you put them on. Yeah. And if they don't feel right, don't get them. It's as simple as that. And yeah, it was difficult. But some of the shoes they put on my feet, I go, these make my feet look really big, because they made my feet look like this wide instead of this wide. I have a very deceptive wide foot, because when they put it in, he says that you're not wide on the shoes. I go, I am. I says, I take a wide. And he's like, really? I says, yeah. So he took me at my word, but the ones he had they felt comfortable in the foot area, but that heel area was, yeah, a little wackadoodle. But anyway, so it's all about settling into routine. We're starting to get into routines now. And the wind, oh my gosh, I haven't felt wind like that in a long time. And to be able to stand out there and put my face into the wind and feel it blowing me. And I had wet hair at the time too. I'd just gotten out of the shower. So my hair is wind blown today. This is the wind blown look. Yes, I was not out there when it was gusting at 87 kilometers an hour. I was inside then watching the trash fly down the street. But it's been a good day. And, finding the route when you move, get into a routine as quickly as possible. One of the things, because people talk about jet lag. I says, I don't do jet lag. And they're like, you don't do jet lag? I says, no. I said, it's not even part of my routine. I says, I have a routine to prevent it. But I find that if you go on, there's these little white tablets that you can get. They're homeopathic remedies from New Zealand. They're called No Jet Lag, and you take one when you take off, one every 2 hours in flight, and then one when you land. And even if you're on connecting flights, one for every takeoff, one for every landing, and one every 2 hours in between. And I have never suffered with jet lag before. And usually when I get to the place I'm going, I usually strip off my socks and all of that and get into the grass, the sand, the dirt, the carpet, and just scrunch the toes, because it helps ground you very quickly. And then you keep your normal routine. If you go to, like that first night I went to bed like around 9:30, I think it was. And that's the night I fell asleep with my Kindle on my chest. Because I was, I've been up for however long I've been up. So get into your normal routine as quickly as you can. And so I was glad I had a couple of days before I had to go back to work, because it gave me time to get unpacked, get settled in, and we had to work out the office thing. And yesterday we put the legs back on my table and put it in here so I can now sit at my table and work and not have to worry about the little small space I had on my grandfather's writing desk, which is going to my brother. And he kept telling me, he says, "Don't you ruin my desk." So I was concerned because I kept leaning on it, and so then we put the table together, and it's working out very well. It's very well because I'm nicely spread out how I need to be spread out. Everything's where I need it to be. Oh, there's a guy walking down the street, and he's got a dog on a waist leash. He's got a leash that goes around his waist, and the dog's walking in front of him nicely on that. And it's got the little spring piece in the bit, so if the dog jerks on the leash, it's not going to pull him over or anything. I have the same sort of thing with Zeffie, and that one we used in restaurants or when we had workers in the house, and she knew she had to stay by me at that point. And if I took her in on the pink lead to a restaurant, she was up sniffing all around and everything else. If I had her on the waist lead when we were in a restaurant, she stayed on her mat. I put a mat down, and she stayed on that. And just went backwards and forwards between me and the person I was having a meal with. But mainly she just stayed on the mat and laid there, and she ate what food she was given and that sort of stuff. So, but anyway, so work out your routine, get into your routine as quick as possible because it helps stave off the jet lag thing. My goal to get into bed every night had always been around 9:30, and I'm actually achieving that when I'm here. I tried doing that when I was back in the States, but it wasn't working very well because I had a lot of stress, a lot of overwhelm, a lot of anxiety about the move. There was times I was wondering if I was ever going to leave Arizona, if I was ever going to get out of that house, if I was ever going to leave Arizona, was I ever going to get to California, was I ever going to get on the plane? So there was a lot of stress and anxiety, and that started when Zeffie passed away because I no longer had her there to help keep me calm and to talk with and all that sort of stuff. So she played a big role in all of that. So I do have some questions for you when you're going through changes, whether it's moving, going into a new office. So the first question, just it doesn't matter what the transition is that you're going through. Here's some questions for you. Number one, what changes are you noticing in your body or routine when once you get to that new environment? The questions are in the description below. Number two, what does it feel like to give yourself permission to rest more and actually do it? Oh, I've got to talk about that one in a minute. And number three, how do you stay grounded when the outside world and wind feels chaotic? Number four, what routines and anchors help you feel at home no matter where you are? It is keeping in that rhythm. What was the one I was going to talk about? Hang on. Oh yeah, the rest didn't actually do it. I was talking with my coworker today. We were chatting backwards and forwards between the chats, and she says, "How are you finding it?" I said, "It is." I said, "It is very easy to do this because I don't feel rushed. I'm actually relaxing. I'm reading more. I'm doing puzzles. I'm able to concentrate better when I'm working on my clients' projects and things." And and I said, I've got this huge to-do list of things I have to do, people I have to notify, places I have to notify, and that sort of stuff. Things like services I have to cancel from the States, like my cell phone service. Um, I call up them and I have a 30-minute wait. I cannot cancel it online. Um, and when I call up the cell phone provider, there is a 30-minute wait. And I'm just like, I don't have time for this. So, yeah. We'll see how that one goes. I still keep trying. I keep trying, but every time I call in, it's a 30-minute wait. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I can't even get anybody up on the active chat on their website. So yeah, we're going to have to figure that one out, but and get it done quick. And then I've got one bank who doesn't do international addresses. I says, okay, so now that I no longer have a US address, what do you suggest I do in order if you have to mail me anything? And so I didn't hear back from them. They said, we have no way to record international addresses. So it could mean that I have to close that account down and move it elsewhere to somewhere that does. So I might have to do that. Let's see. So it's just little things. It's just little things. And but the cool part is that I get to relax. I have a relaxing start to the mornings. Because I like the mornings. I have relaxing start to mornings. Then I finish at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, my time. And then I have 2 hours till I get onto the podcast. So sometimes we go do some stuff between that 2 hours and miss it a little bit. And then after this, I'll go take a nap and do some work for clients after I wake up from that. And then we'll have dinner, and we always watch the news. Oh my gosh. To be honest, I hate the news, but my parents like to sit down at 6 o'clock with our meals on our laps, and watch the news, and that's fine. That's their thing, and that's fine with me. I like watching the sports news because now I'm getting up to date on the cricket and the rugby and the rugby league and that sort of stuff too. So be able to get back into that. I think there's a game this weekend too. So yes, I'm looking forward to this weekend, and because I work a Tuesday through Saturday shift down here to match the Monday through Friday in the States. And Sunday I have my mastermind group meeting that morning, which starts at 8 o'clock Pacific time, which will be 5 a.m. for me. But I will be up, I will be super fantastic and sparkling, and I will be on camera at that time and able to join in with the mastermind group. And I have missed being able to join in with my mastermind group. So that's going to be awesome. But with that, I am out of here. Think about if you're going through something and you're transitioning through something, how can you keep a routine through that? How can you make it more relaxing, slow it down? Because here in New Zealand, the time goes slow, which suits me perfectly because the last 2 to 3 weeks that I was in the US, time was out of control. I wasn't able to master time as I used to. Everything was out of control. Everything was taking me longer to do than it should have. It was taking me, I would start the project, and the next thing I knew, the time had flown by and it had been like 2 hours had gone by instead of an hour that I was expecting. This is going to take me 30 minutes to do, and 2 hours later, I'm just finishing up. So it was like out of control. Down here, I feel like I've got more control, more control over myself, more control over what I do, and more control over the time that I have. So if you want to make a change, find a way to slow time down for yourself so you can be more present, more in the moment, and that sort of thing. And with that, I am out of here. So go out, have a super fantastic, sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific.